Spy Psychology, Team Fortress 2, How to Disguise by Jonto. I love his editing skills. They're getting better. I think that was a really good intro. I like that. It was very catchy, very succinct, very to the point.
Disguises
I liked
don't
it.
work, they say. Well, I'm here to say that's big, dumb, stupid dummy talk. Instead of sticking out like a burnt French fry, you'll blend right in with the power of acting. But be warned, the disguise kit is not a tool for getting behind the enemy. The cloak is. The disguise is for blending in and not getting shot by sentries. Doing this is fooling no one. And also, you should turn on player models in the HUD and advanced options, as this will help you out a lot later. Now, before we can get into the acting, we need to go over a bunch of other stuff. You can change disguises much quicker when already disguised, so you can switch up your act on the fly.
I actually didn't know this. I didn't know you could actually disguise 2.0. Like, obviously, it's just you swapping, but because you're already disguised, swapping would be fun. That is actually really interesting.
You can also press the B key to assume your last used disguise without opening up the disguise kit.
What?
If you're already disguised, though, pressing B will switch the weapon your disguise is holding to the weapon slot you are currently holding. Confused? Let me explain. Your revolver is your primary, your sapper is your secondary, and the knife is your melee.
See, we keep saying that like Spy has a knife, has a gun, and I don't believe it. I don't believe Spy actually has a gun.
If you switch your disguise's weapon while holding your revolver, your disguise will switch to holding their primary, such as the flamethrower on Pyro, scattergun on Scout, rocket launcher on Soldier, minigun on Heavy.
So it mirrors what they have in their kit. I was wondering how this worked because I was assuming that like if you like disguise as a Pyro, you would have like base flamethrower, like stock, right? Or if you like tried to disguise as a Scout, I assumed that you would have like stock scattergun. But what this sounds like is, let's say I'm running like the Flog, right? And a Spy clones me, right? This guy disguises as a Pyro. He would have the Flog in his primary slot. That kind of blows my mind, actually. Like, there's a lot of nuance and tech in the Spy that I didn't even know existed.
And so on. If you do it while holding your sapper, your disguise will hold out their secondary, which are generally the pistols and shotguns. If you do it while holding the knife, of course, melee.
Right.
But that, of course, leaves a question. Why? Why am I switching disguise weapons?
Because what Pyro is going to have their secondary out moving between locations, right? Like, if you're playing the Pyro, why do you just not have the Pyro Jack out, or the Hammer Jack out, right? The what's his face from Resident Evil Village? Heisenberg, the Heisenberg-looking weapons with the gears, right? Well, you just have Heisenberg's hammer out. You're moving because you move faster between things, right? It doesn't necessarily make sense for a Pyro to have their flare gun out if they're in, like, you know, behind the lines, right? On the front line, doesn't necessarily make sense for them to have their secondary out, right? Or is it going to make more sense to have, like, you know, the back burner out, their primary out, right? Like, it's understanding how the other classes work. And oh my god, like there's like I'm actually having like the Adult Swim like blah, like the brain blast meme. Wow, Scout won't be running with his cola if he's packing in. Exactly, right? Like, oh my god, like is the sniper necessarily going to have his melee on in the background, right? And that's going to be an important one, right? If your sniper's in the back, enemy sniper's in the back line, and you have your knife out, they're gonna know you're a spy right away. And I was trying to figure out what I was telegraphing because I thought I was just moving wrong. Yeah, you're gonna have your pistol out, you're gonna have your revolver out, and then you're going to make sure that you have the revolver out. Sorry, make sure to swap to emulate the primary, right? And so that way, you know, if you're doing the sniper, right, trying to take the sniper's position, you're able to not telegraph that you're the spy, swap to the knife, and then take him out immediately unless you're going for the ambassador shot. Like, that is wild. can disguise yourself as members of your own team. I did not know that, actually. I'm learning things today.
Well, hold that thought, because I'll get back to you on that. Next is how your identity theft works. When disguising, you'll take the identity of a random player on the enemy team who is playing as the class you chose to disguise as, inheriting their name, cosmetics, equipped weapons, and even their current health. If nobody is playing that class, though, you'll instead take the identity of a random player outright and appear with a stock loadout.
This is why this incentivizes you using disguising as something on the team.
Also, when disguising as a spy, you'll also appear as a disguised spy. I know, definitely not confusing.
Love it.
Another thing is the disguise smoke. When you disguise, the spy throws up a cloud of smoke before he transforms. Sounds pretty normal, but do note that if you cloak right after disguising, the disguise smoke can be seen following you. To prevent this, disguise after cloaking. Even being partially cloaked when you start the disguise negates the smoke entirely.
Next time it's more to see if they'll actually turn around. Half the time they don't.
Poor man.
Almost there.
The fact that he was able to get that, the fact that he knew what his movement would be, because I mean, obviously there's like a little air shimmer. That is wild that he got that.
And that's why you always cloak before disguising.
Did you know you can fake reloads with your primary by simply reloading while disguised? This will cause your
I'm sorry. What?
disguise to be seen reloading their weapon, unless it's a weapon that can't reload.
Right.
And
like heavies, like Brass Beast.
Finally, post-spawn wall hacks.
What?
If you're uncloaked while you're disguised, enemy players that just let spawn can see you through walls. It wasn't always like this, and it's kind of dumb, but be wary of it because stuff like this can happen.
Hey, wait. Aren't you forgetting that you can, like, disguise as a teammate and, like, fake their death using the dead ringer?
Oh yeah, that, yeah, it's kind of cool, but I've never really seen anyone put it to really good use. Even when faking the death of a teammate, it's kind of obvious, and I just don't use the dead ringer. But hey, if you want to try that trick, I won't stop you.
There are many ways that a disguised spy can be detected beyond doubt.
I like that we just pass over the dead ringer. Just like, I like how the understanding here is that even spies hate the dead ringer.
And as a spy, you should be wary of them. Players on the same team are able to just walk through each other.
Sure.
Whereas they cannot with enemy players. The latter is the case with disguised spies. So if you bump into someone well disguised, it's best to assume they now know you're a spy.
Right.
And only the engineer who built them can stand on friendly buildings, so don't stand on the dispenser. As mentioned before, when disguising, you take
The engineer one's kind of confusing me. I wonder why it is that way.
the identity of an enemy player, meaning if the player you're disguised as sees a clone of themselves, they'll either have an existential crisis,
Right.
or they'll know you're a spy. Sometimes it can also help to disguise as the player you kill.
Average pyro.
When you get hit by flames while disguised, the afterburn effect is immediately visible. And the same goes if you get hit by the Mad Milk or Girardi debuff. Being cloaked halves the duration of Flames, Milk, and Girardi, so use this knowledge as an escape option.
Ah, okay. Because that can out a spy really quick. Yeah. Hey, why are you not on fire as much anymore? Oh, interesting. You are the spy.
So, sometimes the disguise mechanic isn't perfect.
Doubt.
Dimmer with a minigun, engine with a knife, the thermal thruster is completely invisible, horseless headless pyro, and him. The weapon-related glitches can be avoided if you pay attention to the weapon your disguise has, as you can fix it by switching disguised weapons. But with stuff like the missing pyro head, you have no way of knowing when it happens, and you just kind of have to accept it.
Uh-huh.
Welcome to playing Spy.
Yeah. Team Fortress 2, in fact, is a game without bugs. It's only features. It's a feature to be able to have a pyro with a minigun. No, this just makes sense.
So be wary of all the ways you can be detected while disguised, as if any of those scenarios occur, it's best to be able to know the moment you've been foiled.
Mm-hmm. I like the bits and pieces on knowing how to actually find one out. I love it. That's actually really good information.
Is the fun part.
Oh no.
all the stuff I've told you up to this point, this is why it's important. Because while it's the subtle things that give away a spy, it's also the subtle things that make him convincing.
Uh-huh.
You see, your disguises can indeed fool good players, just under the right circumstances. The main trick to fooling people with disguises is to draw as little attention to yourself as possible. If people aren't paying attention to you, they're less likely to notice something is wrong. And what's the best thing for drawing attention away from you? Your team.
Yeah.
Sure, that sniper over there may or may not be a spy, but if this medic doesn't pay attention to the immediate threat right in front of him, he's going to die horribly.
Right.
But of course, whoops, the sniper does turn out to be a spy and stabs the medic as he starts backpedaling away. But let's change the situation a bit.
The animations are so smooth in these ones. Like his editing has gotten so much better. It's really cool to watch.
Instead of standing there looking at his own team, the spy is running at the medic, looking straight at his back.
Right.
The medic sees this and backs away from the spy defensively.
Yeah, at that point, like, you're found out. It's the method acting is going to be the big skill ceiling for me. Well, really skill floor, because to be able to get to even attempt to do half this stuff, the method acting is going to be the barrier of entry for me.
By looking directly at the medic and running at him, the spy has drawn attention to himself, as opposed to here, where despite the fact he can't scope in, the medic is still fooled just because at a glance, nothing seems wrong. It's also especially effective because the spy has thought, if I actually was the sniper, where would I be looking? And of course, the answer is right at the other team. Seriously, where you're looking plays a huge part into the effectiveness of your disguises. You start looking towards your own team and people just sort of walk in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the thing, like, there's clearly a fight going on here, right? The demo's looking towards the fight. They're not looking at the person thinking, are they actually the spy, though? Like, yeah, don't be painfully obvious. That just makes sense. Yeah, look at your team, Fivehead. Oh my god, this is actually, like, I think I came to a similar conclusion, but I didn't quite know what to do with it. And I love watching this because it actually, like, teaches me what to do correctly. This is great.
In fact, just walking backwards is surprisingly effective.
Yeah?
It can be risky considering you might bump someone, but it'll work more than you might think. Also, you remember about how to switch disguise weapons? Yeah, well, switching your weapon to something appropriate will make your disguise more convincing.
Right.
For example,
Me stumbling over my words earlier this video trying to explain the pyro. Yeah, no, like, this totally makes sense.
when a pyro is nearing a fight, he'd have his flamethrower out.
Yeah.
When at a distance, they'd instead pull out their flare gun if they have one, or be looking for a flank. And if they have a power jack, they'd be holding it out while running to the front lines. And trust me, people won't notice you aren't getting the speed boost if you just start jumping around.
But do you actually get the speed boost if you emulate the power jack? Does it actually translate buffs like that over? I'm assuming it doesn't. So if you know what the speed of the power jack is, but you see a pyro with a power jack and it's not moving the correct speed, isn't that a way to suss out a spy? That would make sense. Yeah, okay, so Jack confirms. Yeah, like, the buffs don't actually transfer because you're not actually using the weapon. You're just having disguise as them. Yeah, that would be 2P. Yeah, I agree with that one. That would make sense. Because then at that point, you have a speed boost attached to, like, a big earner, and you have big earner speed squared. Interesting. Well, no, they do hop, and that's fine. That makes sense. But, like, what is the funny? What is it? It's like a 20% speed boost, right? But if you have a power jack and aren't moving faster than normal walk speed, clearly it's a spy, right? That's what I'm trying to get across.
Now, if you turned on player models in the HUD before, you can see your disguise's cosmetics. If their cosmetics give off a vibe that they're really experienced, act that way.
Yeah.
Or if it looks like a new player, you should instead act like that. You're assuming the identity of another player, so get all the info you can about their looks, class, and weapons. Get into their mind. Pretend to be them. It's the subtle things that can convince people of your act. Just being seen switching weapons, faking a reload, using voice commands, or taking a teleporter so you have the glow can be enough to make people turn their backs. Here's an example of me acting realistically. Here, I stab this Engie, but this demo sees me cloak. So now, I know that he's coming. I huddle in this corner and disguise as sniper and pretend I also saw me stab the Engie. And I have my melee out. And
you have your melee out, because, see, at that point, having the rifle out might actually be the bad call there, because then they know they're the spy. But if you have your melee out and you're acting like you're looking around, Dude, the mental gymnastics here is great.
While actively looking for me. There are times like this where you'll have to get creative with your disguise usage. In fact, fooling people with disguises is like a trick stab with less of the mechanical skill and more of the mind games.
I love B. This translates to, if you're good at disguises, you don't have to apply effort doing trip stabs. You can be lazy. I like being lazy.
Often, acting can be opportunistic. There's no one way to go about it, and being erratic and unpredictable makes you harder to detect. Also, another secret strat. Ask your teammates to shoot you.
My God. You know, in hindsight, this does make a lot of sense, though. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
This is an actual strat that works. As I said, it's the subtle things that convince people. So having someone from your own team shooting at you can be enough to trick someone for long enough that they let you stab them.
The irony that Manco Spy in the chat explains this is why they main Spy, but I don't know if it's a shitpost or not, because this is clearly the Spy we're talking about. There's layers of meta here.
You can also pretend to be an enemy spy so you don't even have to ask your teammates to shoot you. Double acting!
Yeah.
Do be aware that disguises are used to blend in. Usually, you don't have to fool players for more than a couple seconds before making your move. Sometimes there are exceptions to this where you fool players for an extended period of time.
I don't think they don't know. They don't know. They don't know.
They don't know. They're sus.
They haven't realized.
Bonus tip. Play around with your eternal reward. Since when you stab someone, you take their disguise, you'll already be in a realistic position for pretending to be them.
I don't know. I guess I'd have to try Turn Reward. I know a lot of people talk about it really, like they look fondly on it. I don't know. Maybe. I also I like the big earner. Yes, I lose that 25 health, but like, it's just, I don't know. I find infinitely more value in being able to move. I guess I'm more movement tech centric though in how I play.
And this can help train you in disguise acting. The spy has a speed of 107%, and when disguising, the spy will slow his running speed to match the speed of his disguise.
Sure.
But he cannot gain speed if his disguise is faster than him.
Sure.
There is, of course,
so if Scout is faster than 107, he cannot speed up to be a Scout. So that's probably why I don't see a lot of Scouts, at least running too, right? You could probably disguise yourself as a Scout if you're in like the front line or the back line. Interesting.
only one class that is faster than the spy, and that is...
Come on, tough guy!
Scout is the only class that is faster than the spy.
Sure.
So the running speed will be wrong. However, moving erratically can hide this.
Yeah.
So be aware that moving in a straight line as Scout can give you away.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
Also, Scout is the best example of hitbox displacement. When you disguise, your hitbox doesn't actually change, and this can be especially effective against some snipers, as the Scout's head is way below the spy's. Though an experienced sniper will know to shoot above the head. The displacement is different for different classes.
Interesting.
Time to inform your next of kin!
Soldier is the second slowest class in the game, especially since you don't have access to rocket jumping. But even some experienced soldiers don't rocket jump constantly. But at times, you will have to drop the disguise to catch up to faster targets.
Right. That feels like you would soldier in the encounter, right? Like you're getting to the area, right? You have to be in the fight to do an effective soldier disguise.
Pyro is typically in close range situations, and pulls out his secondary when further away from the enemy. Like I said before, pyros that have the power jack equipped like to pull it out when they're not in combat.
Right.
So you can mimic this behavior. Disguising as a pyro can be really helpful for getting near enemy players, since they tend to stick with their team and it makes sense for him to not be firing when not in close range.
Right.
Just be very wary of the enemy pyro.
Never be a bloody lesson to you!
Demo is slightly below average in speed, but a lot of things that apply to Soldier apply here. Typically, you can act like you're about to shoot at something with your stickies or grenade launcher.
I'm curious why Valve decided on 7% increments. Where like, so what? Spy is 107, 100% obviously being normal speed. Well, I guess even then, like, I don't know. Did Scout used to have faster movement speed? Like 133, I guess makes sense because that's technically a third faster, right? That's 33% faster than base. Soldier being 80% is just 20% less. Why 93 and 107 respectively? Has it always been that way? No, it's always been the same. Why 7%? I wonder what their fascination on that is.
Also, pay attention to if they're playing Demonite instead and pull out the melee if so.
Right.
You cannot hide.
77, sure.
Heavy is so slow that it's rare to see people disguise as him. And because that speed is such a hindrance, it's best used as a wild card. You aren't going to catch up to anyone, so you really need to rely on your acting skill so that people get close to you. But since the heavy disguise is a wild card, people are more likely to fall for it if it's used as such.
You know, the more I think about it, so in modern day, we look at multiplayer games and a lot of gamers kind of just criticize the idea of having different characters and classes that do different things, right? Can you imagine if I guess Call of Duty does have a movement penalty though, right? Or at least back when I played old Modern Warfare 2, right? If you had an M249, you move slower than if you had the UMP45, right? Like LMG versus SMG, right? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where the rhetoric comes from, where it's like everything needs to be balanced rather than having different specializations that interact well with each other. Maybe it's because modern gaming tries to homogenize everything to the point and set everyone at a baseline to the point, but there's not much interactivity. It could be a Halo thing, though, actually, now I think about it, right? Because Halo kind of standardizes everything. At least the older Halos did, right? Like Halo Reach 3, etc., CE even, right? Like, your weapons are really how you dealt with things, and thus the meta crept up around, like, green gun precision, right? So charge your plasma pistol, knock out their shield, swap to battle rifle, DMR pistol, and go for the headshot. And it wouldn't be a stretch because Halo also standardized modern FPS controls. I think that's an interesting thing to think about because we do look at a lot of modern games like, well, this class is way too OP, or this class just can't get it going. But we're literally looking at TF2 where every class has a different speed tier. This is a fascinating discussion. I think that is way outside the scope of this video, but it's definitely fascinating to think about.
You look a mite tongue-tied, son.
Engineers are often seen at their nest, so it's best to act like you're preparing to set one up, looking for a spot, or running away in distress.
I feel like disguising as engineer would be oddly hard to start off with.
Otherwise, it can look very strange to not have a nest.
Yeah.
If your disguise has the gunslinger equipped, you can fake being a battle NG and run around more, mimicking the more active playstyle.
The healing is not as rewarding as the hurting.
Good medics almost always have the medibeam on someone, so make your move quick. Running at people with the medigun out can make them think you're about to heal them and turn their back.
What if you... Hold up. So the exception here could be if they're actually running the crossbow, right? Because then they could battle medic with the crossbow.
Medics tend to use their crossbow or syringe gun defensively while backing away from danger, and they tend to use their melee when running in for the kill. The Ubersaw with its stupid trickery.
You best keep lying down.
The sniper disguise has a very interesting use, as you can use it to stand back and wait patiently.
Right.
As you can pretend to be looking for a target in the distance, but in reality, you're watching for a good moment to strike. Players very rarely notice that you're not scoped in, especially if you're standing still and crouched, so you can just sit in one place and fool players for an extended period of time. But the hitbox displacement? Well, the head hitbox is almost perfectly aligned on the sniper disguise,
right,
making it easy to headshot you. So if the sniper you're disguised as spots you, run away immediately.
Yeah.
Spy, gentlemen.
As mentioned before, when disguising as a spy, you'll appear as a disguised spy to the enemy team. Again, it's a matter of just acting like an enemy spy. They tend to have their knife out more than the revolver, and you can use it while amongst your team sometimes. But this is not an excuse for running from your lines into the enemy lines.
Right.
As a spy who does nothing with that opportunity is pretty sus.
Yeah.
Suspicious. But Jonto, I hear you ask, which is the best disguise? And the
It de-
answer is...
It depends.
None of them.
Oh.
If you use the same disguise over and over, people will catch on.
Uh-huh.
Constantly switch it up and disguise as different people. If there's no pattern to exploit, people have a harder time pinning you down. That goes for disguise use in general. Don't act like you, act like who you're disguised as. Learning how to fool people with your disguise is one of the most underrated parts of Spy, and it's a treasure trove of mind games when you get into it. It's the subtle things that give a spy away, but it's also the subtle things that fool people.
Hey, so in a week or so, I'm gonna make a live commentary follow-up to this where I go over some of my really good clips. So leave questions for that in the comments and stay tuned.
Sorry, I'm doing something about this.
Also, Spy's a gun.
Spy has like, I love that that's the recurring thing, the recurring meme that Spy has a gun. Sorry, I was doing something in the other monitor really quick in Discord. This is awesome. I actually really love this. I love that there was just so much to talk about with the disguise, because it's so true though, and it's like, yeah, there isn't necessarily a best disguise. If anything, being able to swap on the fly is going to do wonders for your game, right? Like, it's one of those things where, because I try to read the enemy team in my like, what do you call it? In my noob mentality, I was trying to make sure that I'm swapping, make sure I'm reading the team, you know, oh, well, they have, you know, pyros, they have 2 pyros on the team. I might as well disguise myself as a pyro, right? But there's more to it than that. And you can be reserved, you can be in the back line as a sniper, you can, you know, well, suddenly they have, they're going full 3 soldier, might as well disguise as soldier, try to capitalize on some of that confusion. But, you know, suddenly they're swapping off to pyro again. Well, let's see what I want to swap to. The fact that you can double disguise and it's faster, right? So you can disguise while in disguise. I didn't know about that, which was honestly pretty great. I love this. Definitely go check out the original video, especially if you have not. I thought this was really chock full of information. I'm going to definitely be using some of this when I go into some of my streams, especially when I do spy-only streams. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one.